What up, nerds? So today you get to see me live talk to you instead of watching me do a voiceover. Um, what are you doing? What's on the screen? Well, we're not really going to talk about video games today. We're going to talk about one of my other passions, which is da 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 world world building. World building. What is world building and why isn't it two separate words? Well, I don't know the answer to the second part of that question, but world building is pretty much what it says, right? Anytime, anybody that's ever read Harry Potter, watched Game of Thrones, Star Wars, Marvel, that's how, a lot of those worlds are very similar to ours and take pieces and parts from ours, but they all have something that's massively different. Wizards, superheroes, dragons, whatever it may be. Um, it's a different world, and it's a world that's been built up through an author or multiple people through their imagination. You know, and it's silly because it's something that anybody can do, right? I mean, anybody can kind of create something, but I think it does take a lot of talent and a lot of originalness, ingenuity maybe it's a better word to make a good one. I think especially right now people are getting tired of the same old, same old, same old. So yeah, my whole thing is that I would like to make a video game someday. That's the plan, right? Get rich off of YouTube, and then we'll make a video game. Still working on the getting rich part, but planning ahead with the whole video game thing. So probably about 2 or 3 years ago is when I really got the idea for all this, and it's something I think about almost daily. As far as really just getting into a different world. Not so much as an escape from this world, but eventually. We create it right now, and that way when we have the funds to put pen to paper, so to speak, we'll be good to go. So this right here is Reddit. I'm sure most of you guys know what Reddit is. Basically the only social media I use, if you could even call it social media. So there is a world building subreddit, which I frequent pretty often, and they have a December 30-day challenge. Usually I look at these and say, oh, that's cool, and that's about the extent of it, because I like to just keep a lot of stuff in my head, and I have a bit of an issue just going for it and actually doing things right. So that's what I'm doing. This is going to be really good for me because I would really like to post to this channel every single day to get some consistency going, build up a following, and B, it might just be helping to kind of use your brain every day. In the creative sense. Obviously, you use it and problem solve and all kinds of stuff, but this is more so what I would like to be moving forward with. So yeah, I think it'll be really cool. So I'll post it up here every day. Today's technically the second, and I did this yesterday, but I didn't take a video and post of it. So we're going to take a video today and do number one, and then I'll also take another video after this one and do number two. I'll just post them both today and kind of go from there. But yeah, so number one is origin. So what is origin? So origin is just kind of and they kind of go into it here. But origin is basically, yeah, again, it speaks for itself. It's the start of your civilization. Um, so for our world, um, think, Big Bang or creationism. Creationism, that's not a thing, but creationist and God creating the world and all that. Um, and for instance, Greek mythology, they have their own version, and everybody has different versions of something. Usually, religion is kind of entwined in it. So yeah, what we're gonna do is talk about the origin of the world. Um, I typed up some ideas earlier and didn't save it, so we're gonna just riff off the top of my head here. So as far as origin, the big thing I wanted to start with, I've always been super into Greek gods and goddesses, right? Um, I just think that's such a cool concept, and they all have their little following. And I don't know, I love water, right? So I've always felt like Poseidon's really cool because the ocean and water, and it's just I don't know, I like that stuff. But you got Zeus with the thunder and the lightning, and then you got Hades, god of the dead. I like that idea, and I'm going to steal it a little bit. So, and this is kind of where we get into the video game situation. It doesn't have to do specifically with video games, but um, that's kind of where I'm heading it. You can Worldbuilding can go into books, movies, any kind of media that tells a story. That's what world building is. So for me, it's a video game, right? And in this video game, there's going to be different types of people you can play as. Those are called classes. So in my video game, we have like a hunter. The hunters have like a bow and arrow type deal. Um, Actually, I believe the name I wanted to use for them is a beastmaster. Um, and they can do like they can branch off and do two things. So they can turn into animals, similar to a druid in World of Warcraft, or they can tame animals and use bow and arrows and all that shit um, to kill other stuff. And yeah, so that would be the hunter. Now, what does that have to do with the origin of your place? So for me, these gods and goddesses would all be like the patron saint of a specific class. So I would have like a hunter goddess, like I think Artemis is the goddess of the hunt in Greek mythology. That's good. And she would have a little bow and arrow. Nice. Okay. So yeah, that is what we would start with. Um, there would be like a warrior god and a healer god. Just I would figure it out. It's kind of like up here still. So the gist of it is, and this is where we'll get to typing here real quick. Um, Multiple gods is going to be the big thing. Um, Patron saint over classes. Now, the reason I'm bringing up these gods and goddesses, we're stealing that, but we're going to put a little twist on it. So, at least in the beginning, these gods and goddesses are not going to be very involved because they are going to get enlarged here. All these gods and goddesses are going to be kind of frozen in place, like in the world. If you look at, let's check it out real quick. God of War, ending scene, dead giants, maybe? Let's check it out. Perfect. That's kind of what I was looking for. Alright, so I don't know how well you guys can see this.
The best RPG on P.
This is not an ad for Raid Shadow Legends. Okay, so that's a YouTube video. I just want a picture of it. Why do you hate me, Google? Anyways, I don't know what you guys can see, but see right here. You can't see my mouse either, but over on the right here, there's a god. He's kind of got like a hammer in his hand, and he's just kind of like leaned up against the mountain. And you can see up above there's like a hand reaching, and over to the left there's some faces, and you even got this guy, to the left directly. So it may be hard to tell from here, but when you see this in the game, they are all you're like on top of a mountain, really high up, and you look down and you see this, not up close, but like very far away. That like really shook me, and I thought it was so cool looking. So what we are doing here is very similar to that. Like the one thing I thought would be cool is if there is like some I don't know mountains or some shit here, and the point is something happens to these gods before you start the story. Something to be like something knocked them out, froze them in time. So these gods are maybe like covered in stone or they're just frozen. So maybe we got some guy here. Those are his legs, and he's just kind of like chilling on this mountain right now. He's got his own little sword, and yeah, he's knocked out right now. Um, So I thought it would be really cool if people flocked to these areas where these gods died. I've already decided like the peasants and the lower class or people that don't have too much knowledge of everything, they're gonna think these gods are dead. Some people maybe will think they're slumbering. That'll be like a conspiracy theory type thing. Um, so maybe you have like a little city of villagers here. They put up some houses and they do some farms and shit. One of the twists I wanted to add on this is like we touched on earlier. Each god has their own class associated with them. Uh, I want that to be reflected in whatever zone they're in. So if you got like a goddess of the hunt Artemis over here, right? For her, being a beastmaster and kind of nature-ish, um, I would prefer it to be like in a forest, kind of tucked away. Lots of wildlife around. Maybe everybody, in that village, um, they are really, maybe they can all speak to animals. Like maybe it's something that you develop over time just because, you know, Artemis is over here chilling up against this mountain, knocked out, and she's just giving off this aura that's invisible, but it covers, her area, and the people can kind of feel that. I want you to be, I want the player to be more powerful when they go into like their designated class area. You know what I mean? So maybe Beastmasters do extra damage or they move faster. Yeah, I'll figure out the semantics later. But that's the gist of it. So we have multiple gods, and something happened to them to knock their asses out. They're all just chilling around, and society has built up cities, towns. I'd prefer there to be smaller towns kind of strewn throughout, but the big cities are going to be around these gods, and maybe they take the names of the gods for the city. That is kind of, I guess, my origin. Um, I feel pretty good about it. It's a bit, it does steal from the Greek gods and goddesses a little bit, but I mean, look at World of Warcraft, they steal tons of shit. After a while, it's not like, you know, I don't have to credit somebody for using Greek gods and goddesses. That's mythology. It's been part of our civilization since, whenever it happened, I guess. It's not like J.K. Rowling went and created them. So, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I enjoy doing this stuff so much. It just feels very cathartic and just therapeutic to kind of talk it out because I have all this stuff in my head constantly. So to put literally pen to paper and kind of get it out there. Um, other as far as origin, I think other than that, the only other things I was thinking of, because of course, if all these guys are knocked out, big question is why, what happened. I was thinking there's another class I want to have called, they're going to be purple, the Husk, right? And this is going to be a class that the Husk can divide off into like a Death Knight type deal, where they have like heavy armor. Let's roll it back a little bit. So the Husk's big thing, you start out, it's kind of dark. People are going to look down on you for being a Husk. You trade your physical body for one that, I guess it's a parasite is the best way to put it. So quite literally, you'll be ripped open, and there will be like a alien looking goon. I don't I don't know. And he is going to be scary looking, and the people that are husks will let those demons, aliens, I haven't figured out specifics, but they're going to let them in them, possess them to, you know, be stronger, I guess. So they can do spells and all that stuff. So we'll have like a heavy armor one that has like Death Knight, and they do all that shit. And then we'll have a cloth wearing one, kind of like a warlock, where they can, do spells, do whatever, but they can also get up close and whoosh, and all this shit comes out and fucks everything up. Um, anyway, so this is like the bad class, the bad guys. I think it would be a cool idea. I'm gonna see if this works. I have a picture in mind for what I want that god to look like. Uh, let's try this. Oh, I just seen it actually. There it is. I love this picture, and I think honestly, just like this, he's fallen over, he's like reaching for something, and then he's frozen, and then you got like the door to the city behind him. I think that looks really cool. Now, I'm pretty sure this guy's alive in this one, but this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. So that would be your patron saint of the obviously not a skeleton per se, but something of that nature, spooky looking. So I don't know. First iteration off the top of my head, maybe make this guy the bad guy. He wants to be more powerful than all the other gods, and so and maybe he always gets teased for being the weakest at first. So he's done something to freeze them all, but he's just pretending the whole time, still getting more powerful, or maybe he is frozen but still getting more powerful. I was thinking making him like the god of death, right? And then it, everybody in his city like they can't die and they have all this immortality and shit. So that was kind of my thought process there. Is maybe he's the big bad guy, he froze everybody, and that's kind of why we're having issues with everything. So yeah, and that's just a little bit of that. So yeah, that's my origin as far as I'm concerned. I can't think of anything else too much that I need to put in there. Um, I mean, I just have lots of thoughts on this stuff. So yeah, guys, that is not what we wanted to do. That'll be the first video for this. We got the origin done. I'm going to turn this off, start editing it. Just kidding, I don't edit my videos. I'll upload it real quick, and then I'll go ahead and do the weekends, which is just going to be like, you know, what do people do on weekends? It's cool. Little things like that really add to your world. Obviously, you gotta have like the big things, but just little things like that. That's why the Harry Potter books, in my opinion, are so much better than the movies, because they put those little details in there that really make you feel like you're in the world. Little things that you can relate to, versus the movie just kind of hitting the main points and sprinkling in a little bullshit here and there. But that's just me. I know reading's not for everybody. So yeah, we are going to end it here. Appreciate you nerds watching. I'm gonna upload this and make a new one. Bye bye.